The Algonquian Native Americans comprise the most extensive and numerous North American groups, with hundreds of tribes, including the Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Cree, Naskapi, and Innu, speaking various related dialects of the Algonquian language group. Rich mythology pervades among these people who inhabited the East Coast forests of Canada, the Great Plains in the United States, and the Great Lakes region in both the United States and Canada, with one notable legend being that of the Wendigo. The first Wendigo was said to be a lost hunter from the Algonquin-speaking peoples, compelled by severe hunger during a bitter winter hunt to resort to cannibalism. With the first bite, the insatiable hunger for human flesh was awakened, leading to an existence dominated by an uncontrollable craving for more. Each consumption of human flesh would cause the Wendigo's body to grow, expanding its stomach and preventing it from ever feeling satiated. Consequently, Wendigos were depicted as both gluttonous and emaciated from perpetual starvation. Described as giants with hearts of ice, standing approximately 15 feet tall, Wendigos were said to have glowing eyes, long, overgrown yellow teeth over half-chewed lips, an overly long tongue, and almost translucent, yellowish-tinted skin due to their skeletal and deformed appearance. Modern interpretations also include them having antlers like deer. Their arrival may be signaled by a noxious odor of decay, a sudden, unnatural chill, or even blizzards. They often prefer hiding in caves and dense forests, venturing out only to seek prey. The consumption of a human being may cause them to enter a hibernation lasting for years. Consuming human flesh bestows special powers, including enhanced hearing, sight, speed, and strength. Some have likened their speed and agility to werewolves. Their powers increase with every victim. In extreme examples, they seem to demonstrate the supernatural ability to move through time and space to claim their victims. They are also said to be able to manipulate the weather, control forest creatures, regenerate their bodies, and remain unaffected by harsh weather conditions. This makes them supreme predators. Even if you hide in houses, they are said to have the ability to unlock doors. However, they can be far more cunning, using their ability to perfectly imitate any human voice to lure you into your doom. If that doesn't work, their screams could paralyze their victims. Unlucky individuals who don't die from fright just by witnessing the Wendigo would face the unsavory prospect of being slowly eaten alive. Wendigos are believed to originate initially as spirits of winter called ice or north. These spirits possess suitable hosts, transforming them into Wendigos. The most suitable hosts are those who succumb to hunger and choose cannibalism. Another way is as a punishment for individuals who are excessively selfish, greedy, or gluttonous. These individuals are visited by these spirits and bitten by them in their dreams. These unlucky individuals start to have their minds and bodies taken over by the Wendigo, beginning with strange odors that only the target can smell. Then, they are plagued with nightmares. They start to experience an unbearable burning sensation throughout their legs and feet and usually end up stripping down, running without clothes through the forest like a madman. This is usually the last anyone sees of them. The few who have returned from the woods after suffering Wendigo fever have been said to come back utterly insane. The third way is if they somehow survive a Wendigo attack but are unfortunate enough to be bitten by them, causing an infection that will eventually lead to their transformation over a period of days or weeks. Finally, it's hard to believe that anyone would choose to be a Wendigo voluntarily, but some who wish to have the power to protect themselves against enemies or to punish others can perform certain rituals to become one, presumably by invoking and allowing these spirits to possess them. Scientists, of course, do not want to believe in such spirits and have coined a term called Wendigo psychosis. The 10th revision of the International Statistical Classification of Diseases and Related Health Problems, ICD, categorizes this illness as a culture-specific disorder and describes it as rare, historic accounts of cannibalistic obsession. Symptoms include depression, homicidal or suicidal thoughts, a delusional, compulsive desire to consume human flesh, and a fear of becoming a cannibal. The first recorded mention of the Wendigo dates back to a 1636 report by Paul Lejeune, a French Jesuit missionary living among the Algonquin people in present-day Quebec. The Jesuit missionaries encountered individuals suffering from Wendigo psychosis, and the Jesuits claimed they had to execute them to prevent them from running amok. In a notable case, Swift Runner, a Plains Cree trapper from Alberta, went camping in the northern woods with his wife and 6 children during the winter of 1878. A year later, after the trip, Swift Runner returned and claimed that his family had died of starvation. Upon investigating the campsite, the police discovered human carcasses picked clean and confronted Swift Runner about it. He confessed that a Wendigo spirit had entered his dreams, instructing him to eat his family. Faced with starvation and the death of his eldest son, Swift Runner, despite being only 25 miles away from emergency food supplies, cannibalized his wife and 5 remaining children. He was tried for murder, found guilty, and hanged for his crimes later that year. Another case occurred in 1907 within the Sandy Lake First Nation community in northern Ontario. The tribal shaman, Jack Fiddler, was well known for defeating Wendigos and claimed to have killed over 14 in his lifetime. Eventually, he and his brother, Joseph Fiddler, were charged with the murder of Joseph's daughter-in-law, whom they had strangled to prevent her from becoming possessed by a Wendigo. Jack Fiddler managed to escape the police and took his own life, while Joseph Fiddler died from tuberculosis in prison in 1909. In a lesser-known tale, a young man who had recurrent dreams of the north and ice spirits made a solemn request to his friends. He asked them to end his life immediately if he displayed Wendigo symptoms. Although well-liked and skilled as a hunter, his friends initially hesitated but ultimately changed their minds as he exhibited strange and moody behavior. In an orchestrated ambush, his brother shot him in the heart with a rifle. Despite falling, the young man immediately stood up, laughing, with no bloodshed, as his heart had already formed into ice. The group had to dismember and burn his body, pulverizing the heart with ice picks to eliminate the threat. Wendigo sightings are most prominent from the 17th to the early 20th century. One particular town called Roses in northern Minnesota from the 18th century allegedly reported many visits from a Wendigo. Following these sightings, unexpected deaths or disappearances occurred. In more recent times, sightings of Wendigos have declined. However, what are some ways to combat the Wendigo threat? Within the Assiniboine, Cree, and Ojibwe cultures, a ceremonial dance known as Wendigokanshimoan is occasionally performed during periods of famine. It involves participants wearing masks while dancing backward around a drum. The last known Wendigo ceremony in the USA was conducted within the Leech Lake Indian Reservation in northern Minnesota. Indigenous people who settled in the southwestern United States of America use Anasazi symbols to protect themselves against Wendigos. Anasazi is a Navajo word that means ancient ones or ancient enemies. Similar to salt circles drawn to protect against ghosts, these symbols often portray things found in nature, such as flowing water or the sun. If one becomes possessed by the Wendigo spirits, certain Cree folklore suggests alternative treatments such as consuming fatty animal meats or ingesting animal grease. Intriguingly, some individuals undergoing such treatment may exhibit the unusual symptom of vomiting ice as part of the curative process. Finally, if all else fails and the only way is to go head-on against the Wendigos, they are said to be afraid of fire, silver, iron, or steel. Most importantly, the Wendigo's heart must be cut out and melted or burned in a fire before its spirit is truly subdued. However, in an old Ojibwe story, a resourceful hunter succeeds in killing a Wendigo with a simple knife, repeatedly stabbing it in the head, challenging the notion that one needs specialized equipment to vanquish them.